Welcome to yet another video about Manager Life, the manager mod for FIFA 10, EA Sports FIFA 10 game. The topic of this video is some of the central game aspects of Manager Life that I haven't covered in previous videos. So the first thing I want to talk about is action points. Each round you have a number of action points that you can spend on various actions you can do in the game. The obvious consequence of this is that there is of course a limit to the number of actions you can do if the action costs any action points. And not all actions you can do cost action point. For example, I could change the formation here to formation 4-3-3. That action doesn't cost any action points. If you can actually see what kinds of action cost action points. For example, assessing the team, you can see the little icon here, the green icon. This means that this action would cost an action point. So some actions cost action points, and there's a limit to how many times you can use those actions within each round, and other actions do not cost action points. So some of the actions that do cost action points is actions such as assessing your own team, assessing teams of your opponents, and renegotiating contracts with your own players, buying players from other clubs, and such kind of actions. You'll find that, especially in the beginning of the game, and this is a new game I've recently started, you'll find that most of your action points will be spent on assessing in the beginning your own team, and later on you'll spend most of your action points assessing other teams. So I'll just go ahead and assess my own team this round and move to the next round. So that is essentially what action points is all about. But I also mentioned that there was a few other topics I wanted to cover in this video, so let's just go straight ahead to them. The first thing was that of knowledge accumulation. And that means I've several times said that, well, since I just started this game and since I just started as manager in this club, I do not have information about the players in this club. So how do I get that information? I simply get that information by accumulating knowledge about the players. And I can do that by assessing my own team. I'll also automatically accumulate knowledge as the rounds go by and as I observe my players in the matches I play. But I can speed it up by assessing my team, by spending my action points on assessing my own team. I accumulate knowledge about players from other clubs in the same way, either by playing against them, or I can speed it up by spending action points on assessing those teams. Let's just go to the tournament tab here, and we could, for example, pick Force, right click on it, and I could assess this team in order to learn more about the players on this team. I don't want to do that right now. So that is the way I'll accumulate knowledge about the players. So every time you see a question mark like this, or question marks like these, this question mark indicates that there's something that you do not yet know, but if you accumulate knowledge about this player or this person, it could be a manager as well, a manager from a different club, you'll eventually get that information, and the question mark will be replaced by that information. So that essentially, by that, I think I've essentially covered what knowledge accumulation is all about. I'll say a bit about, in a minute, I'll say something about the rate of your knowledge accumulation. But the last thing I wanted to cover was that of access to information. The concept of access to information is actually similar to knowledge accumulation, but not exactly the same. Some kinds of information you do not learn by accumulating knowledge over time. You simply learn it by having a high enough assessment skill, and if it is high enough, you'll be able to have access to that information. And every time you do not have access to a particular type of information, you will see this icon here. This means my assessment skill is not high enough, or I think this is my tactical skill, some kind of skill I have is not high enough to be able to use a custom formation editor. If we go to the team development tab here, these areas could show some graphical overviews of the development of my team, the development in their morale, their team experience, and so on. But my skills are manager skills are simply not high enough at the present point, so I can't access that information. So what do I mean when I'm talking about my manager skills? You'll see that if we go to the office page here, and on this personal details, my personal manager details, you'll see down here that I have some manager skills, and my manager skills level are level 1 in all of them at the present moment. Maximum level you can get is level 10. So my assessment skill here is the one that governs most of my access to information. My tactical knowledge skill here will govern my access to information about tactical aspects in opponent clubs. And I won't say too much about how you increase your skills. But essentially you do it by accumulating your salary, the salary you earn each month. You will accumulate that, and when you have enough, you can increase your manager licenses, and after you have increased those to the maximum level, you can get other feats. But by every time you increase your manager license, your manager skills will increase as well. And you can see you have other types of manager skills: morale boosting, player development. Some of them are self-explanatory, but I'm not going into explaining that in this video. But I hope this was enough to let you know a little bit about the knowledge accumulation and the access to information aspect of this game. And there's one thing I haven't said about knowledge accumulation, the rate of knowledge accumulation. It is not governed solely by your assessment skill. It is also governed by the level of the assistant manager you have in the club that you are employed in. So these was actually the aspects I wanted to cover in this video. I'll just skip ahead for a few rounds, and by that I can show you how, actually right there you can see how accumulating more knowledge, we now know the names of the players. And if we continue to accumulate knowledge, we'll essentially know all the details about their skills and their faces and their positions and so on, preferred positions. So this was all I wanted to cover in this video. Thank you for watching.